There are people out there right now who are starting businesses.
Absolutely.
We know exactly what that feels like.
You're right in front of them, so it's like having a billboard that you're actually putting right in front of somebody's face.
When you're considering adding corporate apparel to your brand, these are some things that you should consider.
A lot of website companies, they build it and then they have the ownership of it, and then you don't. You want to own your website.
Welcome to the Marketing Compass, your guide to navigating through the dynamic world of marketing and advertising. Whether you're a seasoned marketer or just starting out, join us on this journey as we explore the latest trends, strategies, and insights that will steer your business towards success. Hi, I'm Ryan Sigler. I'm thrilled to be your host on this marketing journey. Today we have with us Nick Prentice. He is our sales manager and our digital marketing lead, and today we're going to talk about some digital marketing. So Nick, before we get started, let's talk to our audience about how you got involved in digital marketing, or what's your background in it.
Cool. Yeah, so it's interesting how kind of my path has been blazed, and while not even knowing it, God's kind of aligned things for me. But it actually all starts clear back in like 2007, 2008, when I was in broadcast marketing. I worked for a local group of radio stations out of Fort Wayne, and I was the young guy. You know, I was 20 years old, and being that young in an industry like broadcast radio, you know, they're kind of looking for new revenue streams to support the power of their megaphones, and so digital marketing was a natural fit for me. So I was blessed to experience that, and while there, I started my training, and not only in digital marketing, but just marketing strategy and understanding how businesses should market themselves, and it's just grown from there. Over the years, had that kind of joint position through broadcast radio, terrestrial radio, and digital marketing, and it morphed into digital marketing, a marketing director for a small group of local businesses, and then I started my own business for a short period of time, and then the Lord brought me to Blue River Digital, where my best friend Wes, your brother Wes, asked me to join the team 5 or 6 years ago now. So to this day, we've been working diligently at Blue River to put together our take on the digital marketing department within an advertising agency. We do things a whole lot different. So we wanted to take how we do things different with our other departments and kind of marry that with the digital marketing world. So oftentimes it's different. I hope that it's a breath of fresh air for you as business owners experience us compared to other digital marketing agencies. But our processes, our structure is all much different. So that's what we've been working on those last 5 or 6 years, and really dialed in the last 2 or 3 years, and excited to see how digital marketing is really taking off. It has been for a long time. But Blue River, the growth that we have seen in the digital marketing side of things, purely because of the results that it's showing for our customers. The results that they're seeing, they're increasing their budgets to take advantage of that low-hanging fruit that we're able to find with digital marketing. But then they're also telling their friends about it and their colleagues. We have tremendous customers that are cheerleaders that are out there for us. So they're going to these big events that they're with fellow like-minded businesses. They're telling each other about us, and then we're doing work for like businesses in other areas around the country. So it's been really fun to be a part of.
Social media is exploding. The world of digital marketing, I should say, is exploding. So the world of digital marketing is huge. We do a lot of different things, so it's too much to talk about today. But we're gonna narrow it down to just social media. So Nick, how important is social media to our company or to our viewers' companies? how important is it to their company's marketing strategy to include social media in their digital marketing?
Yeah, so I think of it like social media is like your digital word of mouth. Okay, so oftentimes we hear a lot of people say, hey, what do you do for your marketing? And they say, well, it's word of mouth, and that is fantastic. That should always be a priority for you. That's definitely a piece in the marketing strategy that you have. It's part of customer retention, making sure that your customers are happy when you complete your sales process with your customer, depending on what type of work that you do, that last touch point that you have with them, how you're able to interact with them, leaving it as a positive note will take them into their communities, their households, and they'll tell other people about it. Just like we talked about with what's happening with us, with digital marketing and how our customers are sharing about us. Well, social media is that platform. One of those platforms. Reputation management is another side of this that is a whole other can of worms that we can get into and talk about some other time. And really, to be fair, social media as a topic for one discussion probably isn't enough time even for that. But we'll do our best to kind of hit on some pieces that you should be considering as a business owner when bringing digital marketing in and specifically social media in. But it's that next piece of the puzzle, right? So you likely at this point you have a website. We recommend that you have some form of a website, even if it's just a landing page, splash page, something that is going to give you credibility. It's going to begin your online footprint.
It's the information, it's the about us, about your company that we're trying to direct from social media to your website. So basically we're telling them all about you without actually physically telling them. So doing it digitally.
Exactly. Yeah, so the website, at its base piece, that's what it is that information gathering source. That's your digital marketplace, your digital storefront. We look at it as your brick and mortar, which is the building that you have. If you have a building, some businesses are all digital, but if you have a building, that's your brick and mortar. Then you have your website, which is the same version of that. Oftentimes it's their first impression on you. You know what they say about impressions. First impression is so important. You got to make the right impression right away. Right. So that website is very, very important. But the next step of that is social media, I believe. Your journey, depending on your business, can take lots of different paths through digital marketing, but social media is where you can influence your customer base where they're most comfortable. And what I mean by that is think about how you use your own social media platforms, maybe Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or X. I'm probably always going to call it TikTok, or not Twitter. I'm sorry. Twitter or X.
It's now X, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from Twitter, TikTok or Snapchat, all these social media platforms. Think about how you use them. And you're in a place where you're comfortable, you're relaxed, you're talking with friends, family, colleagues, those kind of things. If your business can be in that same environment and understand and be a part of that controlled word of mouth that's happening about your brand, you're able to engage in it at that point. Because in the past, where we looked at word of mouth before there was the technology of the internet and social media platforms now, word of mouth would just have been you and I seeing each other at the store and talking about the experience we had with the local contractor that we just had. Yeah. I'm not there. I can't say, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed your experience with us. I understand you're looking for a kitchen also. Digitally, we're in a place now that we can see those conversations happening and we can engage in those, and they become leads then and conversion points. Adversely so, something that we don't like talking about, but it's a reality, is on the negative side of that, when people are talking bad about us. And you and I do it. It's something that we all do, unfortunately, but we tend to complain about the negative things, and it's harder to talk about the good things. Where in reality, the negative things that's happening probably wasn't as bad as you recall them to be, right? So if they're out there and they're being talked about in a way that is negative, but not fully representing who you are, you have an opportunity then to kind of chime in and correct the conversation. And there's right ways to do that, and we can consult on how to do that. You definitely don't want to go in and start pointing fingers and pushing back and causing issues online. We definitely don't want that. But social media allows you to engage with buyers where they're most comfortable. And then if you use it as a marketing tool, you can also target very specifically folks that are in specific geographical areas, different behaviors, different buying patterns and likelinesses of things happening. You can target through social media. I would say probably not as precisely as, say, Google, but social media is that place where you can start to tell your story, build your brand, talk about the why, and people love that type of content. They like seeing the behind the scenes. They like seeing you grow and growing with you. So as much as you can paint that picture, it brings them in, invites them into the conversation, because oftentimes, Ryan, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, where you come across a brand that you appreciate, but you're not in the market yet. You'd like to be someday, and you probably will be someday, but you're not ready yet. So social media is a way for us to engage with those kind of folks, kind of building our sales funnel. I think most people are familiar with a sales funnel. It's a funnel, and at the top, you've got in sales, you've got your targets, folks that actually they'd be a little bit further down. You've got just like your general net of audience of people in the community. A little bit further down, you've got people that are interested. A little bit further down, you've got people that are in the market, and further down, you've got people that are ready to buy right now. So with digital marketing, we could target folks in every piece of that funnel. People that are ready to buy right now is a little bit more expensive than people at the very top, where we're going to cast that wide net, and we know that we need to target everybody in this county specifically, and build our brand awareness and working our way down. So social media is a vital point of that strategy, and a lot of people talk about cost point to kind of get in. Social media oftentimes is one that we would consider to be free to get in. And that's because you don't necessarily have to spend any money. Now, I preface that, and why I had the air quotes, free to get in, is because it does take time. It takes a lot of time. You've got to plan those posts out. You got to make sure there's good quality content there. So you've got to develop that, and you have to engage in your users. But it's part of that sales process, and it's a good thing. Now we'll get to later on. I think the conversation is going to take us there to how you can invest in it and how you can use those targeting pieces to grow your business that way. But it's definitely what I would say, because of the low cost point, it's definitely a great place to start for digital marketing. After you have your website there, because we always need to be in our posts, we always need to be sending them somewhere. Mm-hmm. So if we're not sending them to your store, we need to be sending them to your website.
So we mentioned real quick kind of what platforms, but what are your top, let's say, top three platforms that you would start if you were to start a business right now, a brand new business? 1, 2, 3. What are the top social media platforms that you would attack?
That's a bit of a loaded question because it is, and it seems like a cop out. And I'm sorry if it's not like that. I'll give you an answer. I'll give you my top 3, but it truly is different for every business. Depends on where you're at. Mm-hmm. We are in north central Indiana. We're an hour from any of the main cities. We're right between South Bend and Fort Wayne, and an hour north of Kokomo. Hour and a half, 2 hours from Lafayette. So we're like kind of right in the middle, right? So for us, there's certain platforms that wouldn't make sense for us necessarily to be on unless you're trying to target those people that are there. It's all about, and I say this a lot, marketing. I love marketing. I've been doing marketing for over 15 years. I love everything about it. Every piece of marketing works. Every form of marketing works. Now, you hear some people complain about certain platforms that are dying or anything like that. They all work if it's the right message in front of the right person at the right time. So that's how you choose the correct platform.
And probably based on what product I'm trying to sell.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So for us here, I always recommend, because it's low-hanging fruit, it's easiest to get started. It takes less time than the other platforms to get rolling, and that's Facebook. Facebook is continuing to grow. We do see, it used to be, everyone said that, Facebook was where the young kids are, and it's not anymore.
It's more the older generation.
It is. There's still, when you think about that, it's still got a huge chunk of users that are, 18 to 35. So it depends on who you're trying to target, and would determine on what platform you end up using. But they have what I would say the most diverse grouping of users, from all demographics, all geographical locations, and it's the easiest to get started on because you're looking at photos or video, and some good written content and a call to action. You put that in your posts. You do it on a regular basis. You learn from the data, the analytics, and adjust on when you're posting and what type of posts you're using. And over time, it's a great place to start. Second one is, I'd say, Instagram. For us in our area, Instagram's a little bit more challenging to get engagement on. We love video views, and video views is a very important piece. But video views isn't necessarily engagement. I would say it probably more likely considered a form of branding. Okay, so when you want that call to action, something specific to happen, it's a lot harder for them to get that to happen on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Although Instagram is an easy second step because it is a meta platform, meta product, and you can cross post to get started. Let me say that, to get started, okay? Because Instagram and Facebook are two different groups of people, so they should have two different sets of ad strategy, posting strategy. But it's a good place to start. If you're already on Facebook, it's an easy step to get onto Instagram. It's another place your content is housed. And when people are doing business or doing research about your business, it's another place people can see that you're active. And this company I can trust because they've done work already and they've been around for a number of years, and I know their story. That's another platform for it. I'd say third, and along the video line, and this is a unique platform because it falls under a lot of different categories on what it is, and some people may not even consider it necessarily social media. It is considered the world's largest search engine, and it's YouTube. It's Google product, YouTube Shorts, things like that. I say that because of the trajectory of video. Video is a very important piece of your marketing strategy in general, but as you're starting out, you need a place to start housing that. So by adopting YouTube into your strategy, you're starting housing your video, you're starting making your own video, you're then honing your video craft and making Instagram better, and then making Facebook better because you have that content. And then it will just lead into all the other social media platforms that are out there. Now, with that being said, and just as I wrap up this question for you, it just because there are platforms out there doesn't mean you should be on them. Okay, so when we plan our marketing strategy and when Blue River sits down with our customers and we talk about strategy and what we're going to recommend for getting started, time is a big piece of that budget factor, right? So it's not always about the money, the marketing budget that you have. It's how much time that you have to invest in it, and what is that time going to get you in return. Okay, so the challenge that we have with video is that all of the social media platforms are pushing for video. They're optimizing their platforms to make it to where they want their users to watch video more often, and they're taking less account for posts that do not have video, if that makes sense. Okay, so what that challenge is that forces us to spend more time to build, to create this video content, and it takes a lot to put together a good piece, quality content. It takes time. It takes a learning curve. It takes a professional in a lot of instances. So there's that balance that is there. So the social media platforms are pushing us to try to use it more often, but it's taking more time to do that. So at what balance do you want to have to the amount of work that you put into social media, the amount of time that you put into social media, to the point to where am I making enough new sales from the work that I'm doing here? So social media, typically, I look at that social media as a way of building relationships and branding. It's like a heavy dose of branding, right? And less about lead generation. We talk about the 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule is a cool rule because it fits with lots of different scenarios, right? Budgeting, it works with business growth and strategy, but also works with social media content. 80% of our content, we want to be talking about who we are, why we do it, some fun things behind the scenes, and then 20% of our content is the sales stuff, the asking for business, right? So that balance is important because we need people to be engaged in our posts, and so they're not falling away and not seeing our content anymore. We need them to be engaged in all of our posts. And if all we're doing is selling Ryan a brand new hat, and he just bought 3 new hats because Ryan has a hat problem, guys. It's a big problem. You should pray for him for this because it's an issue. But if Ryan just bought 3 hats and he knows, hey, I've been told I shouldn't buy any more hats this month, and they're hitting you, you need to buy this hat, you need to buy this hat, you need to buy this hat. You're not engaging in that post anymore because you're no longer in the market, and then those posts don't end up on your feed when you're ready to buy next month, right? So that balance is important. 80-20, I think, is a good rule. So those are the 3 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, that I would recommend to kind of get started on if you're starting a new business. If you haven't used social media yet, that's where I would recommend kind of your progression to start. But just rest assured that you don't need to have them all. It could be daunting to new businesses to think I need to be everywhere.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break.
That's good.
Before we continue, we're going to show you a moment to shine a spotlight on a project that we're proud of, and it's been an interesting project. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with a little bit more social media, and then we'll close it out. So thank you.
I'm excited to share with you about our journey we've had here working with First Federal Savings Bank. One of the first things we noticed when we sat down and began talking with First Federal Savings Bank is how true the About Us page on their website and all the things that they talk about how they're family-focused, friend-focused, how they're your neighbor, how all that is rings true in their own personalities. And we knew that when we were going to be setting up a social media strategy, a digital marketing strategy for them, we knew that it was really important to make sure we nailed that narrative, and we understood exactly how we need to communicate that story to the audience. So our team has been working hard behind the scenes. We've dedicated countless hours to just that component itself, to understanding the narrative, the type of people that we want to be chatting with and sharing these services of First Federal Savings Bank. Thankfully, the First Federal Savings Bank has been blessed over the years and have a tremendous following of great customers, and we've had really cool opportunities to get to know them as well. But there's a lot of people out there that don't know of First Federal Savings Bank, and we want to be able to tell that story and represent it well. So there's a lot of work that goes into that, and just in the planning stages on a weekly basis, as we write out social media content, as we design new digital marketing ads, so they would be engaging but also in representing our customers really, really well, because we want everybody to have that same feeling that we had when we first sat down with them, that they are family and we can relate with them.
All right, welcome back to the Marketing Compass podcast. Hope you enjoyed that segment. It's really cool when 3 different companies work together to create an awesome finished piece and help each other out. So something we're proud of, and it's been a joy working with those companies. So
Yeah.
we appreciate each and every one of our clients, but those three have been a pleasure to work with for those two.
Those two.
So Nick, let's get back to it. How would you recommend somebody use social media to grow their business? And then how much do you think they like getting started or throughout different aspects of using social media? How much do you think they would spend on average, like per year or so?
Yeah. So, just generally speaking, and I'll try to summarize this because if you haven't noticed, I tend to be long-winded. So social media, the most important piece for social media is consistency. Okay. So when we start with social media, it's important to be consistent. So, posting when your customers think you should be posting, if that makes sense. Okay. So,
Right.
So a good rule of thumb to start and not to overwhelm people, is, and thinking of Facebook as the place to start, like we talked about previously, is a couple times a week. So starting with a couple times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, and try to make it easier on yourself to get started. Once you get rolling, it's going to become easier and easier and easier for you to write this content. Okay, but put together a calendar, maybe figure out a month at a time. The Meta Business platform allows you to use their planner tool to go in and schedule a month worth of posts at a time. So what I recommend doing, especially when we start with a new customer with a new Facebook page, is we have to kind of understand when their users are using the platform, when they're on. And most of the time, you can assume that they're always going to be pretty similar. They're going to be early morning before they go to work. They're going to be during the lunch time frame. They're going to be in the evenings after work. And what I'm noticing is that it's not as early as it used to be. It's not as engaging during lunch like it used to be. And now it's later in the evenings than it used to be, if that makes sense. So between 7 and 8, just good rules of thumb, between 7 and 8 in the mornings, between 11 and 1 in the afternoons, and then after 7 in the evenings. Maybe say between 7 and 9. 9 might be a bit late, but between 7 and 9 probably would be just a good rule of thumb. And what I want you to do is just monitor those. So that's one of the wonderful things about digital marketing is that we have real hard data, stats that we can see. So through that Meta Business Suite on the back end, you can track and see your insights. You can see how many people seen your post, how many people's engaged in it, how many people's clicked through to your website. So monitor that and understand which time frames of the day people are engaging in more often. So as you do that, you refine that and you do what works. You keep doing what works. Another time frame is Friday afternoons is really funny. It's not so great as a business owner seeing this, but Friday afternoons people stop working. So like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, social media traffic goes way up. People are on their Facebook, Instagram, TikTok feeds, watching videos and things instead of doing their work. So Friday afternoons are always a good time frame to kind of post as well.
So obviously, yeah, we want to hit those people, but if it's that many people, I know we're targeting the exact person we want to, but would there be a possibility of overspending during those hours? Like maybe, yeah, we want to definitely, if that's the most active time, we want to be there. But if a lot of people are viewing it, we might be spending money on views that we might not want.
Not necessarily.
Or because we're targeting the right people.
You're right. We're targeting the right
then
people.
it's the right
but
people seeing it.
remember this, at this point, this is organic posts. So this is just regular postings. So that's just when your post is going up on your timeline, right? So it's when people are re-engaging with social media throughout their day and their normal hobbies, their habits that they have throughout their day when they pick up their phone to check their social media accounts. Those are the times that you want to make sure that you have a new post up so it comes in on their feed. Okay, that's part of the equation. There's an algorithm that Facebook uses, that Meta uses, to understand their users and what they like and what they want to see. So it's terrifying, honestly, to know it. From a consumer, it's terrifying. From a business owner, it's kind of cool because it gives us a lot of information and allows us to target the right people.
Yeah.
But they're watching our habits online. The tech companies are watching our habits online, and from that, they adjust to make their platforms, I'll say it, addictive. They want you on their platform as long as possible, right? So they understand what content you're engaging in, so they want to show you more of that. So it's important that when you write that content 2 or 3 times a week, that it is engaging and that it's something that Facebook, in this instance, or the social media giants, that they recognize as content that their users are going to want to see. So more specifically, to answer your question about the targeting side and the actual ad spend, right? So just a good rule of thumb, and it really depends on the market that you're in, but just a good place to start to be thinking about when you're budgeting. I would say a good rule of thumb is between 3 and 6% of your gross annual sales should be allocated towards marketing.
All of marketing,
All of
not
marketing.
just digital.
All of marketing.
Print, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Now, there's some platforms that require more or less to kind of get started. And depending on the market, the competition that's there, it could require more or less of that 3 to 6% to allocate towards a marketing strategy. But with social media, with Facebook specifically, I would say really kind of an entry level to start spending and targeting new customers on Facebook or Instagram, for this case, for Meta platform. You're probably talking between $6,000 and $12,000 a year. And I say that, and I don't want to scare people because we understand at Blue River Digital. I mean, when we started out at the bottom too, and growing up, and I don't want to scare new businesses or businesses that haven't yet started using digital marketing, because for some, $6,000 to $12,000 seems like nothing, and for some, that seems like an incredible amount of money. I can't see myself ever spending that because I'm just trying to keep the doors open, right? That's another side of the digital marketing that's really exciting, and how we formed Blue River Digital, the digital marketing component of the agency, and that number is completely flexible. It all depends on where you're comfortable at. And it's kind of like the old adage: you get what you spend. You get what you pay for.
Right.
With digital marketing, the more you spend, the more you get.
Yep.
So you can invest less than $6,000 for sure, and that equates to what, about $500, $600 a month,
yeah.
right? So you can definitely spend less than that and still get some results, but it's a tiered thing, right? So we see that kind of $500 a month budget as a good place to start if you're brand new and you just need to kind of see how digital marketing is going to work for you, and you want to start getting some leads, because obviously any type of marketing that you do, you want it to be an investment. You want to be able to measure return on your investment, but that $500 range is kind of where we've seen it start to work. It start to happen. You're gonna get more people to see it. You're gonna get more engagements. You're gonna get more clicks to your website, because Facebook, Google, YouTube, they want your money,
And this is
so they're going to make sure it happens.
And this is you saying this after your several years of seeing the numbers, working with several clients, that
Hundreds, yeah.
that $500 a month, that's where you're really starting to see the results come in.
Yeah.
So
if you're
that's good information.
Yeah, if you're trying to do $20, $50 a month, and that's totally okay if you do. But you're just not gonna start getting that momentum yet by using social media, and it really is like I mentioned. It's got to be an investment. Everything that you're doing with marketing, and our team consults on that. Right, we want to make sure you have some measurables in place. How am I gauging success of this campaign? Whether it's a postcard mailer campaign, whether it's an ad that we design and place in a local paper. a billboard that we design and paste on a busy intersection, how are we measuring the success of this? How are we tracking it? With digital marketing, we have all of the stats that we need for that. A lot of the other types of marketing, it doesn't mean that they're not working. It's just harder. There's a lot of inferring that happens, right? So if I haven't done, say, radio marketing like I used to do, right? So, and we still place radio marketing for our clients. If I haven't done radio for a year, and then all of a sudden I add a $1,000 a month budget for the next 3 months, and I see my sales go up this amount, I can infer that because of that investment, that one thing that I did differently happened.
Right.
I can say that these sales came from that. With digital marketing, I can see that I targeted this person with this amount of budget on digital. This person called me, and I closed this deal from it. And I can track that all the way through, and we can even get even more granular.
So the analytics.
The analytics are
point.
just so powerful, so powerful, and that's really why I would say a big part of our strategy and growing the digital department is how we've been constantly. I mean, I don't know how many times in the last 3 years we've upgraded our software to provide better data. It's just such an important piece.
Well, everyone wants to know
Yeah.
if I spend $5 on this ad, how much am I getting back? I mean,
Yes.
that's valuable information, and that's information that we can report each
Yeah.
month and give back to you, or you
Yeah.
can see yourself if you learn how to do that, and
Yeah,
that's
Well,
valuable.
It's like a staircase, you know. It's a step at a time, you know. But if any business owner would do this, right? If I spend $10 and I make $30, then okay. Well, if I spend $30, will I make $100?
Right.
If I spend $100, I'll make $1,000.
right.
And if you could keep tracking that and showing that your investment is leading to more and more of a return,
and the more you spend,
the more you spend, the more you're making. And
return,
there's definitely a peak to that,
Yeah,
and you
right.
want to monitor that and measure that. You just don't want to go all in and just kind of dump it all. You need to be strategic about it,
Yep.
you know. But that is exactly how digital marketing works. You can see it happening if you have a plan in place, that you work that plan, work that strategy, and you adjust along the way to optimize the campaigns. It absolutely will succeed. Okay, so the pieces that make Blue River different, and the pieces that you want to look for. Okay, this is from our collective knowledge of owning businesses in the past, working with business owners.
That's right.
We see these businesses need to have a way to see a return. They need to have great communication. They need to be able to trust the company they work with, and they need to be able to adjust on the fly, right? And they need to be. So you need to be really aware of the goals that we're trying to achieve here, right? So if you're going in and the company you're working with is thinking, you know, hey, they should be spending between $5,000 and $10,000 a month, and you're going in thinking I should really be only spending $500 or $700 a month, and then you're definitely not on the same wavelength, and you're looking at things differently. You need to be able to take things slow. You need to be able to handle the bigger budgets. So we do, but not everyone's the same.
Right.
But you need to really just that communication, that knowledge is power, right? So that if you're looking for a digital marketing company, or if you're doing it on your own, you just make sure that you're able to see the data, and have measurable ways to gauge that, and to measure it, and adjust accordingly, and make sure that the company you're working with is willing to make adjustments. You should be able to adjust on the fly as needed.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of information. Hopefully that information is exciting to you all, and hopefully we brought some valuable information to you. That's our goal. We want to bless you with information, and if you've got questions, feel free to comment on any of the platforms you see this podcast.
Yeah.
Hit us up, let us know, contact us, find us on our website. You can find him or myself, and
We're on social
email
media.
us, call us.
We're on
we
social
would love
media
to
too, so
hear. We would love to
message
hear
us
your
there.
comments, and if you've got a marketing strategy, run it by us. We wouldn't mind saying, "Hey, that's a good idea," or maybe you should
try something like this, or have you
maybe
considered this.
we refine it a bit, and we're here to help. So, thank you for listening. As we
That's
wrap
good.
up another episode of the Marketing Compass, we want to extend our gratitude to our fantastic listeners. We hope you found out today's insight valuable and applicable to your own marketing journey. So, if you want to learn more about us, you can find Blue River at www.blueriverd.com. Don't forget to show us some love by liking and subscribing to the Marketing Compass podcast. On all the major we should be on all the major podcast platforms.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
So we'll have another one soon.
Yeah, we'll
Dig
have
in
another
further.
episode. We hope to show all of our employees and what they do, and then also bring on clients in the future.
That's
and
going to be
just
fun.
keep
We haven't had an
bringing-
opportunity to do that yet. I'm hoping
Yeah.
here in the next month or two
and just
we can
keep
start bringing our customers
more
on.
valuable information about marketing and all the aspects that we work in, and how we can hopefully help you with valuable information. So
You got it.
have a great day.
Thanks.